Kia ora, it's Claire from Santulan Yoga. For today's session, we will be opening up through the upper back and shoulders, working along the bilateral sides of the body, left and right, and also doing some gentle twisting through the spine. So for today's class, you might like a couple of blocks or a strap, and also either a rolled up towel or a secondary mat for the first part of class. So gather your props and join me here on the mat. So starting off, we want to open up through the chest and release through the upper spine. So either gathering a rolled up towel, or you can use a secondary mat. Or if you have yoga blocks, you can use a yoga block as well, but you do need to have a little bit of flexibility in the upper spine already to use a yoga block. So I'll demonstrate with a second mat. So just starting off, laying down on the back, and we want to position the prop so that it's just underneath the shoulder blades or slightly below. So laying down, it might take a little bit of adjustment to get it in the right spot. Once you feel it's in the right spot, just releasing the upper back over the prop, releasing the head down. If the mat is a bit far away, or the head is a bit far away from the mat, you can also use a block to prop your head up. Otherwise, if the neck is okay, you don't have any neck issues, you can just release the head straight back down and get some opening through the front of the throat as well. Arms can either be alongside the body or out in a T shape. Or if you wish, you can bend from the elbows and bring the upper arms straight up alongside the head. So just finding a position that feels most comfortable to you. And we'll hold this position for a moment. Just let the body settle into this position. And let the upper back release over the prop that you've got. Nice, long, slow breaths. Taking one more breath here. And wherever you are, bring the arms down, bending through the knees, bring the feet down to the mat. And either rolling to one side or pressing yourself up to a seated position. Now that position at first might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but as you breathe through it, your body will start to soften and relax into the posture, and you should be able to feel that you can really open up through the chest and shoulders in that position. So the next one we'll do, I've got a couple of options for you depending on how tight your shoulders are at this point in time. So the first one, we'll start by lying on our front. So lying on your front, bring both arms out to a T shape through the shoulders. Keeping the right arm straight, we'll bend through the left arm. Bring the right ear down to the floor. And what we're doing is just rolling onto our right side. And you can either keep the left leg straight, or you can bend through the knee, place that foot down on the floor behind you. So gently twisting and opening up through the front of the right shoulder. So you can either stay here, or if you're feeling reasonably strong through the shoulders, what we'll do is we'll start from a seated position, right arm behind, lifting up through the hips, keeping the left foot bent, right leg straight, and reaching the left arm up and over. Doing a bit of a back bend here as well. And we're opening up more to the left in this position. So choosing whichever variation that you'd like there. If you've been lying on your front, taking one more breath. And if you're up into the wild thing, one more breath as well. Wherever you are, releasing, and we'll switch to the other side. So if you're down on your belly, straightening through the left arm now, right hand coming in, bending the elbow up, rolling over onto the left side, bringing that right leg behind, placing it down on the floor, twisting through the spine. Or if you'd like the stronger variation, sitting down on the left hip, bring the left arm behind, lifting up and over, releasing the right arm up and back. Wherever you are, one more breath. And releasing. All right. Now this time, coming up onto hands and knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Walking the hands forward to the front of your mat. Bring the knees out wide, big toes to touch, and releasing the hips back to the heels. Bring the chest down to the floor. Reaching with the fingertips away from the body. So our hands and our hips are going in opposite directions. Now you can stay here if you wish, or if you'd like a stronger stretch through the armpits and shoulders, coming back up to a tabletop position, bringing the knees in line with the hips, feet in line with the hips. And this time walking the hands forward and just releasing chest down to the mat, keeping the bottom up. So you can bring your forehead down or bring just the chin down. This just changes the angle of the stretch through the hips. Again, you can stay here, or if you want an even bigger stretch through the shoulders, bring the forearms together, bring the palms of the hands together, and releasing the head in between the upper arms. You can also choose to start lifting the forearms up and bring the hands onto the back of the head. Wherever you are, taking one more breath. All right, lifting the head and releasing down onto the front of the stomach. Very slowly down. Bring the legs hip width apart, arms shoulder width apart, reaching forward to the front of the mat. This time as we inhale, we're going to lift the right arm and the left leg. Hold it for a moment before releasing back down, and then we'll do opposites. So in your own time, as we inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Right arm, left leg. Left arm, right leg. Right arm, left leg. Left arm, right leg. This time we'll do both arms and legs together. And as we do this, we want to imagine that we're essentially being pulled apart by our ankles and our wrists. We want to have that feeling of reaching both the legs and the arms away from the center of the body. So in your own time, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. And for this last time, as we inhale, we want to hold here for a couple of breaths. See if you can get the arms and the legs a little bit higher this time. One more breath. And releasing back down. Right, turning your head to one side. Resting here for a moment. Letting the body rebound out of that strong back work. All right, now coming back up to a tabletop position. Making sure the knees are under the hips, hands are underneath the shoulders. Placing the weight onto the left hand. As we inhale, lifting the right arm up, opening up through the chest. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the right arm underneath the left and bring the right shoulder and the right ear down to the mat. Inhaling, moving with the breath, exhaling, folding forward, threading the arm under. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling the right arm down. Right, left arm aside, bring the weight into the right hand, inhaling, left arm up. Exhaling, threading the left arm underneath the right, coming down onto the left shoulder and ear. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling one more time, and exhaling down. All right. Now this is where you might like some props. So a couple of blocks or a couple of books, whatever you've got. We'll place the blocks either side here, and we're going to come into a low lunge. So stepping the right foot forward between the hands or between the blocks. Just lifting the left knee up momentarily before releasing the left knee back down. This is just to ensure that our kneecap is in a good position. You can either leave the left toes tucked, or you can bring the top of the foot flat to the floor, whatever feels more comfortable for you. So either hands on the mat or up onto a block. And we're just releasing down through this left flexor. If you're very tight, you can always have blocks up on a higher setting as well. And this just helps the body to release into these deeper stretches, because a lot of people can have problems with these flexors, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day. These can get incredibly tight. And the use of the blocks help our body to release by knowing that it's safe, it's in a safe range, it's not going to tighten, it's not going to cramp. Anything that we can do to support the body is always good. One more breath here. All right, if you're using the blocks, bring them down to the lower setting. Placing the left hand on the floor or the block, right hand onto the right knee. And we're just going to gently twist towards the right. Changing the stretch into this left hip. Sinking down through the right hip. One more breath here. Now you can stay here. We're just going to walk this right foot out to the right. Again, either keeping your hands down onto the floor or up onto blocks. Bending through the elbows, releasing the torso down the side of the right leg, or you can stay sitting up. If you're feeling quite open through the hips, you can also release down onto the forearms. Again, either on blocks or on the floor. One more breath here. Wherever you are, and then back up onto the hands, and very slowly releasing out of that left hip, bringing both your hips back towards the back of the mat, very slowly. Getting a little stretch through the left hamstring, right hamstring, right calf. You may even start to feel it in the lower back as well. Coming back to a neutral position. Bring the right leg back to meet the left. Placing the blocks back to its original position. Maybe if you want to, you can wiggle the hips side to side. Right, bring the left leg forward into the center of the mat, a block on either side. Coming up onto the right foot and slowly releasing the right knee down, making sure that kneecap is in a good position. Again, keeping the toes tucked or placing the top of the foot flat onto the mat, depending on what feels more comfortable for you. And again, also, if you want to have your hands in on the mat, you can have your hands down on the mat or up onto blocks. So starting to release through the right hip now. Choose the setting of your blocks if you're using blocks. And also just noticing how this side is feeling comparing to the left. With each exhale, just softening the hips, allowing the body to release into the pose. Taking one more breath. Bring the blocks down. Placing the right hand down onto the floor or the block, left hand up onto the left leg. You can also walk the foot out from the center line if you wish, the left foot. And gently twisting towards the left. Now you can look out in front, or you can look over to the left arm, or you can also start to rotate the head and the neck, looking over the left shoulder too. One more breath. Releasing the left hand. Coming back ever so gently. Walking that left foot out towards the left edge of the mat. And bring both hands down to the center onto the mat or on top of the blocks. Bending through the elbows, starting to release the body down. If you're feeling quite open, bring the forearms down. All right, one more breath here. Wherever you are, coming back out into the hands and starting to slowly release the hips back, releasing out the stretch for that right hip flexor. Pausing here for a moment, getting a nice stretch through the left ankle, maybe into the calf, into the hamstring. You might also start to feel it in the lower back as well. You can also walk the hands back for balance. Feeling the body release and rebound. And bringing that left leg back to meet the right. All right, giving the hips a little wiggle from side to side. Maybe doing some circles if that feels good. A couple in one direction, a couple in the other. All right. Placing the blocks off to one side. And starting to get more into the shoulders and the arms now. Starting on the right side, bringing the right hip down to the mat. Bending both knees, bring them in. Now the first variation of this pose is you can bring the forearm down, and we want the elbow and the shoulder in alignment, and either the hand pressing palm down. Some people find it useful if they make a fist as well, so just see how you go. And we want to be nice and strong through the core of the body. So getting that sensation of lifting up through the right hand side of the body and nice and long through the left hand side. So starting with bent knees, you want to extend the legs long. Bring the feet back to the mat a little further. And when you're ready, we're going to push up through the forearm, up into the shoulder, making sure it's nice and square. And we're going to lift the hips up off the mat. So in your own time when you're ready, inhaling, lifting up. You can bring the left arm alongside the body, or you can bring it straight up. Or if that's too challenging, you can bring the left hand back down towards the mat to give you some support. The other option here, if all of that is too strong, is to bring the left leg, foot down onto the mat. So you are using the left foot and the right arm as the support, and just lifting the hips in that way. If you're feeling pretty confident, you can come up to the next level, which is a straight arm. Fingers pointing outwards, off to the right. Again, legs together. And when you're ready, inhaling, lifting the hips up. Bring the left arm alongside the body, or bringing the left arm straight up, fingers pointing towards the ceiling. Again, you can choose to bring the left foot in, so you've got 2 points of contact here. So wherever you are, one more breath, and releasing it down. All right, giving the shoulders a little shake. That's quite a strong posture there. And moving to the other side. So ideally, whichever variation you chose on the right side, we want to repeat to the left to make sure that the body is being used evenly. So if you're starting with forearm down, making sure that the left elbow is in alignment with the right shoulder. And we really want to be rolling those shoulders back and down. We don't want to be caving in because that can injure our rotator cuff and our shoulders. So nice and strong. Extending the legs away onto the left side now. Having that feeling of lifting up through the left side of the body. Nice and long through the right. When you're ready, inhaling, lifting the hips up. Arm alongside, or fingers coming straight up. Again, the option to bring the right foot up. Having a couple of points of contact there. Or, if you want, with the left arm straight. Lifting up, nice and strong through the shoulders, rolling the shoulders back and down. Inhaling, lifting up. Or again, with the right foot coming forward, giving you that extra bit of support. Losing my balance there. It happens. All right, wherever you are, one more breath. And releasing the hips back down. Oh. If you managed to hold that whole time, you've done very well. Pat yourself on the back. All right, rolling those shoulders. Getting nice and loose through the shoulders. All right, we'll do one more that requires a bit of shoulder strength. So again, we've got two options for this. So, sitting on your bottom, bring the knees in, feet flat onto the floor, hip width apart, feet and knees, hands stepping behind, about 10 or 15 centimeters behind, rolling the shoulders back and down. This time as we inhale, we're lifting the hips up. So this is a reverse tabletop. And either looking forward, straight up at the ceiling, or if you like, you can bring the head back. But again, nice and strong in the shoulders. We don't want to be collapsing through the shoulders here. And releasing back down. Right, that one seems almost easy after the last one, doesn't it? All right, one more time, adjusting the hands, adjusting the feet. When you're ready, inhaling. Keep squeezing that bottom, using the leg muscles, lifting those hips up off the floor. And releasing back down. All right, we'll do this one more time. You can either stick with the reverse tabletop, or if you'd like to try, we'll extend our legs long. We want to keep the legs long, and we want to get the feet flat onto the mat or the floor so that we create a nice, beautiful long line from our toes all the way up to our head. So hands again, similar position, shoulder width apart, about 10 or 15 centimeters behind. So either lifting up into that reverse tabletop, or when you're ready, legs long, inhaling, pushing up through the heels, up through the hips. Holding for 5 breaths. One more breath. And slowly with control, releasing yourself back down to the mat. All right. Giving the arms a wiggle. Giving the shoulders a wiggle. Giving the wrists a wee wiggle. Maybe the legs too, deserve a little wiggle too. All right. Releasing down onto our back. Bending through both knees, drawing those heels in towards the bottom. Bring the arms alongside the body. Rolling the shoulder blades in ever so slightly, rolling the shoulders in ever so slightly. Tucking the chin into the chest and making sure that the back of the neck is nice and long. When we're in this position, as we're going to be coming up into the bridge, really important not to be rolling your head back and forward. So please do avoid looking at the screen. Just concentrate on what I'm saying. We don't want to injure our necks. So when you're ready, taking one breath to prepare. As we inhale, pushing into our hands, pushing into our feet, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. And just gradually pushing the weight of our torso up over the top of the shoulders. Bring the chest in towards the chin, chin to the chest. And slowly releasing with control, releasing the spine down. Making sure we're using every individual vertebra. Once the bottom touches the floor, releasing here for a moment. Right, again, in your own time, inhaling, pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up, opening up through the chest, bring the chest in towards the chin, chin in towards the chest, squeezing the bottom, using the leg muscles, lifting that pelvis up high towards the ceiling, and slowly releasing back down. Right, one more time, inhaling, pushing into the feet, pushing into the hands, lifting all the way up. Now I'm going to hold this position here. If you like, you can interlace the fingers, bring the palms of the hands together, and just gently easing each arm in a little further under the spine, rolling up onto the tops of the arms, squeezing those shoulder blades in, releasing the pinky fingers down towards the floor. This really opens up the chest and gives you a strong base into the bridge. Or you can stick with having the palms face down onto the floor. Other option here, releasing the hands, bringing the palms of the hands into the small of the back. Some balancing onto the upper parts of the arms. Walking those upper arms in, so nice and stable here in this position. And this really lifts the chin and the chest together. Chest is starting to become more perpendicular to the floor. Squeezing the bottom, using the legs, lifting those hips up. Holding here. And as always, when you feel ready to release, release. When you're ready, don't hold any longer than you're capable for. We want to push ourselves to a comfortable stretch, a comfortable limit in yoga, but we don't want to be overextending ourselves or pushing ourselves further than what our body needs or can handle. Alright, if this is comfortable here, if you like, we can start walking the feet and the knees together into the center. So big toes to touch, heels to touch, knees to touch. Nice and strong. And bending through the right knee, lifting the right knee up. And extending through the lower right leg, pressing the heel up towards the ceiling. Pushing down firmly through the left foot and leg. Nice and strong through the back. Bring the toes of the right foot back towards the head. Nice and strong position here. That's quite alright if you start to shake. This means your body's working nice and hard. One more breath. And releasing the right leg down to meet the left. Readjusting the feet. Readjusting the arms if you need. Left side this time, lifting up through the left foot, bringing the left knee in towards center, extending the lower part of the left leg away, pushing up through the heel as if you want to touch that left foot up onto the ceiling, bringing those toes back towards the head, nice and strong through the right foot, pressing down into the floor, lifting up through the hips still. Nice and strong, steady, comfortable. Keep pressing away, pressing away. One more breath. And releasing the left leg back down. All right, one more challenge. Feet and knees back together. Nice and strong through the upper shoulders, lifting up through the chest. Now we'll start to walk both feet away. We want to create a nice long line with the legs. Keep walking, as straight as you can. Creating a nice, beautiful arch through the spine. Strong, straight legs. Soles of the feet down towards the mat. One more breath. And when you're ready, releasing the hands, releasing the legs, and slowly bring the bottom and the spine down towards the mat, as gracefully as you can. All right, releasing the legs, letting the legs roll away, letting the arms roll away. Ooh. Pausing here for a moment. Letting the body rebound. Maybe rolling the head from side to side very gently. All right, when you're ready, bring the legs and the arms together. Legs zipped up together, arms alongside the body. Tucking the chin into the chest again. Making sure that the back of the neck is nice and long along the back of the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to roll up the spine, bring the legs up over the head, and we're going to come into the plow position. Once we're in the plow position, we'll then do a few variations of plow there. But if none of those things are capable for you, the other thing that we can do is just gently lifting the legs up. Bring a little bit more flexion into the hips, releasing the feet over top of the head. Or you can just keep them straight up at a 90-degree angle. The other thing you can do is you can move over to a wall and release the legs up the wall. there's a couple of options for you. Or if you feel ready to come into the plow, bring the legs over top of the head, then we'll do that now. So the best thing to do is to flip the legs up and over, but we want to use the strength of the arms to really push up and over. So again, bring the hands together, walking the shoulders in, squeezing those shoulder blades in together. Feet touching the floor. If the feet don't quite touch the floor, it can be good to have a block to support the feet. Or you can also use a chair to be lifting up out of the spine area a bit easier, but it'll take a bit of pressure off the back. The other option is to bend the knees and bring the knees onto the forehead. But we want to be nice and tall through the spine, nice and straight through the spine. And imagine if someone is pulling you up from hips. So lifting up out of the spine, out of the shoulders. Once you're ready, placing the hands into the small of the back to create a little bit more support. Pushing the chin and the chest together. Holding here for 5 breaths. When you're ready, walking the right and the left feet out to either side. So sort of coming into a straddle splits. A wide angle leg position. Again, nice and tall through the spine. Keep lifting those hips up and out of the side waist. Gently rotating. Bring the heels of the feet in towards the center, toes coming out. One more breath. Walking the legs back into center. And now with both legs, walking both legs over to the right, twisting through the spine. Back to center. Making sure that we're not dumping all of our weight onto one side, walking both legs over to the left now. Walking both legs back to center. Releasing the hands down onto the mat and slowly releasing the spine back down to the mat. Once the bottom touches the floor, keeping the legs straight up. If you've been in this position the whole time with the legs straight up, bring the arms alongside the body, tucking the chin into the chest, lifting the chin up into the chest. I'm going to slowly lower the legs down with as much control as you can. Now we're lifting the head to protect the back. Keep pressing down through the hands and the arms. Nice and slowly, releasing the legs. Again, another great opportunity to get nice and strong through the center of the body. Also a bit of shaking here sometimes. Nice and slow. Once the heels touch the mat, you can release the body, release the arms, release the legs, let them all roll away. Again, rolling through head and neck if you feel like it needs it, nice and gently. One more breath. Bring the arms in along the body, legs zip together again, and just bring the hands underneath the bottom, sitting on the hands, walking the forearms in underneath the body, lifting up through the shoulders. As we inhale, pushing in through the hands and the forearms, gently lifting the torso up, looking towards the feet, lifting up through the chest, as if you're being pulled by a string up through the chest, pushing down through the forearms and hands. Now you can either stay here or you can start to look up at the ceiling, or if the neck is okay, releasing the neck back between the shoulder blades. One more breath here. Bringing the eyes forward, bringing the head forward, looking back towards the toes, walking the elbows apart and gently releasing the spine back down to the mat. Releasing the hands. And drawing both knees into the chest, bring the hands alongside the knees, rocking the spine from side to side. Maybe doing a couple of circles around the sacrum, so using the knees, drawing a circle, a few in one direction, a few in the other. Right, extending the left leg long, keeping the right knee in towards the chest, squeezing the right knee in towards the right side of the ribs and chest, keeping the left hand on the right knee, right arm releasing down at shoulder height, palm face down, and bringing the right knee across the body to the left. And getting a nice couple of clicks through there. Using the weight of the left hand to release the right knee down towards the floor. Keep extending out through the left leg. Encouraging that right shoulder down towards the floor. And either looking straight up at the ceiling, or if you wish, you can turn your head to the right, look along the right arm. One more breath. Turning the head back to center. Bring the right leg back, rolling back onto the back. Releasing the right leg down. Bending through the left knee, bring the left knee in towards the chest. Squeeze that left knee in. Keep the right hand on the left knee, left arm coming out, palm face down on the shoulder. And bringing the left knee across the body to the right. A couple of cracks there. Encouraging that left shoulder down towards the mat. And turning the head, looking along the left arm if that feels good. One more breath here. Turning the head back to center. Bring the left leg back, rolling back onto the back. And releasing both legs along. Rolling over onto your side. Pressing yourself back up to a seated position. Once you're in a seated position, bring the soles of the feet together, releasing the knees out to the sides, rolling the shoulders back and down, letting the knees release out to the left and the right. Again, you can use blocks here. If the legs are a bit stubborn, if the hips are still a bit stuck, you can place the blocks underneath the knees at any height that you wish. Again, this just allows the body to fully relax and release into the pose. As you start to feel the hips soften, you can start walking the blocks away so that they can get down lower and lower. You can place the hands on top of the knees if you wish, or you can place them on the feet. But remember to be nice and tall through the spine. If you feel like that you're hunching a bit, it can be good to prop yourself up on a blanket. Just popping that underneath the bottom can really help with any tension in the back. One more breath here. Right, pushing the knees back up to center, releasing the feet down to the mat. And we're going to come back down onto our fronts again. Releasing down onto the stomach. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Forearms down into the mat. Rolling the shoulders back and down, chin onto the mat. Legs can be nice and relaxed. Inhaling, lifting the chin, lifting the head, lifting the chest. And depending on how your back is feeling, you can just do like a little baby cobra lift here, pausing here. Or if you wish, you can start extending up through the arms. Just noticing what's happening in your own body. Just pushing the floor away with the hands, rolling the shoulders back and down, looking forward or Having a slight raise of the chin. One more breath wherever you are. And bending through the elbows, slowly releasing the spine back down. Hips, belly button, ribs, chest and chin. Pausing here for a moment. Now you can stay in this position if you wish, particularly if the back is feeling a little bit sore. Or you can walk the hands back so that the hands are at armpit height. Elbows can be up off the mat now. Rolling the shoulders back and down, bringing the chin onto the chest. As we inhale, lifting the head, lifting the chest. Pressing down through the arms, squeezing those elbows into the sides of the body. Pressing up. Making sure that we're not locking the elbows. We want to keep a nice micro bend through there. Wherever you are, rolling the shoulders back and down. Nice and tall through the spine, through the head. Looking forward or lifting the chin slightly. One more breath. Bending through the elbows, slowly releasing down. Hips, belly button, ribs, chest, and releasing down once the chin touches the floor, turning the head to one side. Alright, again, staying with either the first level or the second level, or if you wish, you can bring the hands back alongside the waist now. Elbows still pointing up. Rolling the shoulders back and down, chin onto the mat. Lifting the chin, lifting the head, lifting the chest. Inhaling as we're coming up. Pressing down through the hands. Once we get up to this height, really important to be squeezing the glute muscles to protect the lower back. Rolling the shoulders back and down again once we're at the top. Looking forward or lifting the chin. One more breath. Bending through the elbows, slowly releasing down. Hips, belly button, bottom of the ribs, chest. And keep releasing down to the chin. Turning the head to one side and releasing the hands now. Pausing here for a moment. Alright, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders again, pressing up and back to a tabletop position. Bring the knees under the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. If you wish, bringing a block here. So, bring the right knee to the right wrist. Right foot coming over to the left knee. And walking the left knee and leg backwards, straighten through that left leg. Either staying here, or if you wish, you can support the hip with a block so that you're a little bit more raised. Totally up to you, where it feels comfortable. You can also put a rolled up blanket under here as well. Or, as always, you can use the blocks for the hands. Nice and tall through the spine. Sinking down through the hips. And then when you're ready, walking the hands away, releasing through the hips, coming down towards the mat. Bring the forearms down. You can release your hands down to the forearms. Or if it's a bit far away, you can use the block. Place your head on the block at whatever height feels comfortable. I'm going to hold this for a few breaths here. Releasing into this glute stretch. One more breath here. Get down onto the floor, releasing onto the forearms and the hands, walking the hands back, pushing yourself back up. Placing the hands down onto the mat, tucking the toes of the left foot, lifting up out of the hips, and doing your best to bring that right leg back. However that happens. You might also like to roll over onto the right hip and then just sit up, come back into the tabletop position. So knees under the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Bring the left knee in towards the left hand, left foot to right knee, and walking that right leg back, inching it back, extending it back, however you can get there. Extending that right leg back like that, keeping the left knee bent, and you can place that block or blanket under the hip if you need. Or again, using the blocks to lift the torso up, becoming nice and straight and strong through the back. Sinking down through these hips, getting these hips down towards the floor. Again, this helps release through those hip flexors and also through the lower part of the abdomen, stretching through the front of the body, strengthening the back. Then when you're ready, walking the hands down, coming down through the hips, releasing down onto the floor. Bring your head to a block if you wish, or releasing down to forearms, and we'll hold here. One more breath here. Wherever you are, onto the forearms, onto the hands, walking those hands back to the hips, and either sliding the left leg back or rolling over onto the left hip, whatever feels more comfortable and more natural for you. Back to tabletop, wiggling the hips side to side, doing a few circles. And now bringing the knees forward, releasing down onto the bottom, extending the legs out in front. This is where you might like a strap. And again, if the back is tight, if the hamstrings are tight, you can sit up onto a blanket. It really helps with this position. So I'll demonstrate with the blanket, sitting on the very edge. We don't want too much underneath the legs. Bring the legs together. If you are tight, do feel free to use a strap or a towel or a scarf. Placing it on the soles of the feet, bring them alongside the body. Inhaling, the arms up either side, growing tall through the spine and neck, hinging from the hips as we extend the arms forward, reaching for the toes. We want that back to be nice and straight, no hunching. So if you can only make it to here, that's fine. Placing the hands wherever they land, whether they're on the legs, on the floor, or if you can, reaching for the toes, or again for the strap, you can hold on to the strap. But we want these toes to be flexing back towards the body. We want to imagine that we're pressing our feet into a wall rather than letting them be loose. We want them flexing back, we want the legs to be engaged, and we want the hips to release and to essentially lay our torso down onto the legs. So wherever you are, looking towards the toes or a spot in front of the feet down onto the mat. If you can reach the toes, bring the index finger and middle finger to the inside of the big toes, thumbs on top, gently pulling your torso along the legs. Nice and soft through the shoulders, head and neck. We don't want any tension through here at all. Or another option, if you can reach the feet, is bring the hands alongside outside of the feet. Or if you're nice and open through the hamstrings and back, bring the hands, both hands along the soles of the feet, interlace the fingers. Essentially hugging your legs in towards your body and releasing the torso along legs. Now we'll hold this position. One more breath here, wherever you are. Releasing the strap or bringing the hands down onto the floor, pressing through the hands, walking the torso back up, using your hands. back out to a seated position. We use the strap, place the strap off to one side. If you're sitting on the blanket, coming off the blanket. When you're ready, getting yourself ready for shavasana, so putting any extra clothes on, or bringing the blanket and placing that on top of your body. Feet hip width or further apart. Bring the fingertips to touch. And we're going to lay back, laying our spine long along the mat with control, releasing the spine down. Once the shoulders touch the mat, allowing the arms to release, letting the arms roll away, letting the hands roll away and the legs roll away. Tucking the chin into the chest, releasing the neck long along the mat. And here's my favourite friend for shavasana. Hello, Mandy. Shavasana. Gonna join us? All right. Finding a spot on the ceiling to focus on. And softening your focus on that spot. If you feel comfortable, closing the eyes. With the eyes closed, drawing the eyes down as if you're looking down towards the toes. And holding that spot for about 10 seconds. Once you've reached 10, just suddenly let the eyes go and let your eyes soften in the sockets. Coming back into the breath, breathing in through the nose, back in the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back up the throat, out through the nose. Just allowing the breath to move in and out of the body without forcing it or controlling it. Deepening the breath. Now bring your mind to the spine lying flat on the mat. This time as we inhale, Imagine that we're inhaling through the belly button, and we want to follow our breath from the pelvis, flowing up through the spine, through the lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine, back of the neck, coming up and into the head, up to the eyebrow center. And as we exhale, down from the eyebrow center, through the back of the neck, upper spine, mid-spine, lower spine, down into the pelvis. We'll do a few rounds like this, inhaling, exhaling. Feel the air moving up the spine like a wave as we inhale. And as we exhale, moving down through the spine. This time as we inhale, also have a vision in your mind as we breathe up along the spine. See a radiant point of light moving up through the spinal column as well as we inhale. So moving from the pelvis, coming up through the lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine, back of the neck, into the head and up to the eyebrow center. As we exhale, that point of light moves from the eyebrow center, back through the head, back of the neck, upper back, lower back, mid back, down through the pelvis. So just a gentle awareness, both the breath and the point of light moving up and down the spine. Now adding another element as we breathe in as we inhale, following the breath, moving up the spine, following the point of light. As we inhale, same mantra, so, moving up the spine. As we exhale, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. So hum. One more time. So hum. Now dropping the mantra. So hum. Keep envisioning breath and the point of light moving up and down the spine through the Sushumna Nadi, the central energy line. After your next round of breath, dropping the visualization of point of light, but continuing with following the breath up and down the spine. After your next full round of breath, dropping the concentration of following the breath up and down the spine, and just allowing your breathing to return to its natural, spontaneous pattern. Just observing the breath. Observing the body. And observing the mind. When you're ready, rolling over onto one side. Pausing here for a moment. Starting to wriggle the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, keeping the eyes closed, pressing yourself back up to a seated position. Finding a comfortable seat. To close the practice, we will chant 3 Oms, taking 1 breath to prepare. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling for Om. knees together, creating some heat. When they're nice and warm, placing the palms of the hands over the eyes, opening the eyes into the palms of the hands, looking into the palms of the hands, letting your eyes adjust to the light. Placing the palms over the cheeks. Placing the palms over the throat and the neck. Placing the palms together again. Rubbing the palms of the hands together. Backs of the hands. Fingers and thumbs. Wrists, forearms. Upper arms, maybe the shoulders and the neck as well. We've done lots of hard work for us today. Back of the neck. Rolling the shoulders a couple of times. Placing the hands back to the chest into the heart center again. Thank you for joining me today for class. We did a really strong class through the shoulders and the spine today and the back. I hope you enjoyed that, and you can practice this anytime, of course, from this recording. If you enjoyed this class, give it a like, and if you would like to see more or like to support me in the making of these videos, you can find me at Patreon, Santulan Yoga. I'll put the link in the description below. Again, thank you for joining me for class. Hariom Tat Sat.